Hey guys, let's wait a few more minutes for folks to join. Um, so we're just waiting on a few other people. We have Nathan and Savannah, but we need Andrea, Lindsay, and some other folks to join as well.
Hello.
So we're just going to wait about, I don't know, 3 or 5 minutes to see what other folks join us. So just kind of bear with me for a second and then we'll get the crit started. Okay, folks, who's ready to get started? Who wants to start this conversation? Who's eager to go first?
Just so you know, Matthew, this is Carlin. I'm only going to be able to stay on for a couple minutes. I have a meeting at 2 o'clock.
That's perfectly okay. I know you're here as a courtesy to kind of just provide a little bit of feedback to your drawing colleagues because you did your crit last week, so that's perfectly fine. So really, it's either Nathan or Andrea, and then I'm hoping that Troy, Lindsay, and Khalid will join us too.
I can go first again.
Okay.
Um,
So just to kind of summarize the project, I mean, you guys are kind of working on a semester-long project in these more advanced classes that sort of coalesces around your project, your semester-long project concept or theme.
you disabled the sharing screen.
Oh, okay. Hold on one second. Okay, it should be good to go now.
Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. This is my project. My theme is called Caught Between Two Worlds. So this is my Nahat, that's Ahakis, my thinking portion of my preliminary sketches that I started out with. As you can see, I was having a conversation with Matthew because sometimes, like I was talking about, well, you guys already know that I'm half Navajo, half Hopi, so that's where the idea came from, Caught Between Two Worlds. So I started sketching some things that represented me in my world. So I started bringing it to life through my sketches, and then this is the materials that I used. There's Master Touch markers, and then Prismacolor coloring pencils, and then my ruler, my sharpener, and then I've been using those graphic pencils with Creacolor. And then I lost my eraser. I don't know where it went, but that's my eraser. And then this is the one I was working for. You guys saw the pre-sketches of what I was doing, and it kind of took me a while to color it. So this is the corn grinders, I called it. So on the right is Balik Mana. She's a dancer that I used to participate with, like I was mentioning, on my Hopi side. So that's me dressed up and grinding corn. And then also we have that similarity with our Navajo side of grinding corn. So I wanted to create something that share that similarity between these two different tribes. So this is what I came up with, the clouds, and then there's the Hopi cloud symbolism. I actually wanted to add it like rain, because when you grind corn, they say it's supposed to bring rain. So I didn't add that because I was running out of time, but yeah. And then the border, I just wanted to do something different with the border from the previous drawing that I did. So I messed around with this gold flakes. Then I glued it, and then those are cut out flowers that I did. So they're kind of three-dimensional a little bit, if you see it. So that's what I made the border with, and that's where I'm at. 18 by 24, and then I mentioned the materials that I use. Oh, that's the previous one I did. So I don't know if you guys can see the similarity in my theme, but yeah, that's my third drawing completed. So I was really focusing on just completing it. I didn't want to leave any white space in there. So that's where I'm at with my drawing. And then I'm working on my fourth drawing, but I just did a preliminary sketch. Hold on. So this is a preliminary sketch again. I just do like these little doodles. I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you guys see my sketch? Yeah. Okay. So the first one that I was starting off with was the offerings, and then I did the corn grinding. And then I was trying to think of what to do next. So my little family would, maybe they should be dancing. So I'm trying to make it look like they're dancing away from each other. So this is where I'm at, and then I got to get started. I got to get some more material to draw with. So a lot of my markers are running out of ink. So that's the downfall, and I had to go to Gallup to get some more markers. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm on my fourth drawing. So yeah.
Initial feedback from other folks. I mean, what are your initial impressions for Andrea?
I think the detail in her work, and also the colors, each of her artwork, how she uses each material.
Mm-hmm.
And also the background of your drawing really brings out like foreground of the figure, also the details of the land.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like how she still keeps in contact with her traditional side from both cultures and her colors and using the materials. What are those materials that you use? Are they like stickers or for the flowers? That look really nice.
Oh, they're cut out flowers. They're paper flowers.
Oh, so you cut them out and then you color.
Yeah, I glued them together. I use tacky glue.
Mhm.
So that took a long time to cut out. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you did a good job.
thank you. Yeah, so I was trying to get a close up of the details, but I don't really have a good camera. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's what I've done so far. I finished coloring that third drawing that I was doing. Now I'm jumping on my fourth one. So I got, I think, 2 more to go. I think I had to complete 6 drawings altogether. So that's where I'm at with those.
I have to say, Andrea, I think that this work is really powerful, and I'm very, very excited and happy for you because I think this is just some of the best work I've ever seen you complete. So, just, I think I love what you're doing. I think I love how personal it is for your own identity and self. And I think that's what makes it extremely powerful. This is how art should function. It should be a direct reflection of it should be personal. um, I'm sort of intrigued by the use of the frame or the border. And I'm wondering if you could unpack that a little bit further for me and for the group.
Okay, I just kind of like wanted the gold to represent, I guess, the offerings that I'm doing, like within my drawings. It represents something that I love to do, is be part of the traditional doings back home, and I miss it very much. It's really golden to me, and so I wanted to add that in my border. I kind of want it to look like a marble effect to it, but it was kind of hard to glue it on the way I wanted it to come out. So it just kind of came out the way it is. Yeah, I actually have to glue and paste. It's like it's almost like foil. Um, they sell it there at Hobby Lobby too, and that's what I was messing with. And I was sitting there trying to glue all this stuff together, and then these little flowers I was trying to cut out and color. So then it also represents springtime, and then they do these rituals and traditional doings for the seasons. So summer is coming to an end, so that's what she's grinding corn for, is the end of the seasons where everything goes to sleep during the winter. So I really love springtime and summertime. So and then I love sunflowers a lot. So I always want to incorporate the flower in my drawings. So that's where the flowers are coming from. Just things that I like, and they all have like a personal representation. And then yeah, the cactus too, they have like a shampoo that comes out of the yucca. So I wanted to use that in the background. Then a little sagebrush, and then I forgot who mentioned, Kashan was saying it's just nothing but dirt. So I didn't want to draw too much plants. So yeah. in the background is the Hopi Mesa. And then on the other one was the monument of the Navajo Mittens. So yeah, that's the little symbolisms that I picked up growing up, and I just wanted to incorporate that in my drawings.
What the way that you've rendered the mesas in the back with these sort of rectilinear forms, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I just wanted to add like line to the landscape in the back. I've been doing that a lot in my painting, like kind of like puzzling the mesas together, trying to make a signature for myself when I do landscaping, because when you see other artists and you see their work, you automatically know that's their design. So I'm trying to just mess with these lines here and puzzle them together. And they all have different texture and movement. So yeah.
It's an amazing way to describe that too. Puzzle them together in a textural movement. I think the contrast of the headdress of this particular piece that we're looking at right now is really nice. It moves forward. It's almost more focused and bold than the figure itself, which is kind of interesting as well. Because
it took a long time to do all the details like how I wanted. It takes a long time. I really want to do a job, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I just, I think it's wonderful the consistency between these drawings too, and the way that they are directly talking to your concept and theme. And it's such a beautiful, simple concept theme that can be explored in so many different iterations, right? There are so many different drawings that are kind of representing these different circumstances or narratives or stories, or I don't know. So I love it, Andrea. I'm really very, very happy for you. It's great.
Thank you. Yeah,
I wish you had 20 of these though. I wish you had 20.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to come up with next, is what am I going to draw next with these two characters. So my daughter was saying, why don't you have them dancing? So I was like, okay. Well, there's two different dances, and like there's different kind of dances, so it's kind of hard to pick which dance to make them move with.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. Yep.
So are you confident that you'll have 6 completed before the end of the semester?
Yeah, I just need to work on my sketches. I need to hurry up on my details, because the details I want to do, it takes a while, but I need to speed that up. So that's where I'm at right now. I need to speed my drawing skills up.
Well, I'd love to hear from other folks, just your initial impressions, and maybe while they're talking about the work, Andrea, you could continue to maybe share, because I think it's pretty valuable for folks to see the work while they're talking about it.
I mean, I particularly enjoy that there is a very nice delicacy to the proportion of the two girls grinding. And another thing that I was drawn to was the fact that it's almost very studio stylish, and it's in the sense that there's a very flat component to it, which I appreciate. I mean, I think a lot of people don't like that, but I particularly love it. I feel like there's a very classic sense of that.
Right.
Thank you.
Andrea,
Yeah.
is there a particular artist that you're thinking about, or that you're inspired by while you're working? Like regarding that particular aesthetic. Because we talk about precedents quite a bit, and obviously, what are we looking at? What are we inspired by?
I think I have to give credit to it's towards my father, actually. My dad is the one that taught me these stories that I know and grow up with. So I'm trying to represent what he taught me. So he used to be the former dean of students here at the Dene College, and he's not really out there like publicly with his artwork, but he has a lot of art that I seen growing up with. So these are some of the inspirations that I took from him. So I'm trying to make my own path, not follow him, but make my own character in my work. So yeah, a lot of credit goes to my dad. So yeah, and then yeah, I was trying to make it real simple. Like I was saying, I was doing research about R.C. Gorman and his simplicity. So I wanted to keep it simple and not too collagey. Like I didn't want to add too much on there, or it takes it away from drawing. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to do, is just focus on my drawing skills in this class.
Mm-hmm. It'd be nice to hear from everyone. I know like there's time constraint, but you know, it's kind of one of those things where if you want to say something, just, you know, the water's warm, jump in. But remember, like, you know, giving feedback on what you're seeing and what you're experiencing or what you're feeling from these drawings, I think is really important.
I just like to make a comment on the student that was half Hopi and half Navajo. I'm listening on the telephone because where I'm at, I don't have Wi-Fi. I just like to thank her that her work is, she made it very visual for me and very explained the type of art media that she used. So I'm very impressed with it, and I'm already learning how the expectation is for me at a higher level of doing these classes.
Thank you, Sue. Come on, Troy. I know you're thinking about something you want to say. Or Khalid.
Oh yeah, I think her work's very studio, and also using those lines in the background. I think it's very puzzle. Reminds me of more like probably like towards cross hatching, but I think it very defines the landscape more in the background. So I think she did a good job on that. Also, how she refers back to her culture, both of her Navajo and Hopi side, and putting into the drawing. And it's very inspiring. I'm trying to go that route too, but I'm going more different route with my drawing. So, but it's amazing work. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, last call for comments for Andrea before we move on.
Good job, Andrea. Thank you. They're very beautiful.
Thank you.
Hearing about you talking about your work and how you're inspired and how you said you want your own type of style for your artwork where people can recognize it, I believe you've been doing that this whole time.
Thank you.
Aho. see, Nathan, are you trying to figure out? I thought I heard someone trying to say something.
Nope, I just wanted to say good job, Andrea.
Thank you.
Okay,
You
so
were very, very creative. Colors get those stories again. It's really beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
okay, so let's see, Nathan, Troy, Khalid, or Lindsay. I think Andrea started us off really strong. Let's continue sharing.
I guess I'll go ahead and
like to
go.
go. Okay.
No, I'm first. Okay, I am gonna go ahead and do a screen share. Let's see. Here we go. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Alrighty then. So my first, the way I pretty much kind of got back to into the right part of my thinking from the first week. I mean, yeah, from the first start of the semester to the middle, I kind of grasped back to where I wanted to introduce my native cultures and how we were able to believe in this NAC, and some call it a meeting ceremony, but to us, to me, and part of my and within my family, we call it ceremonial ritual, an all-night ceremonial ritual. And at one time, you know, my brothers and my in-laws and my relatives, they kept talking about all of these things about how they saw these instruments, and that everybody sees these tools that we utilize inside the ceremony, that we all have our own different perspectives on how we see it. And hearing their stories and how I utilized it, it's kind of like to where I wanted to describe how I saw these instruments. And so the first one I wanted to introduce you guys was the gourd. And I want to show you guys how, what the process I did for creating this part of the artwork was, that how I started off and how I used to always see it when I used to utilize the gourd, was that I always pictured somebody riding a horse, or somebody just listening to the gourd rattle. It sounded like a horse. And so when I like really into the song, I can envision myself seeing myself onto that horse. And so that's how my first idea came into be, was this simple, quick sketch of how I wanted to make the horse pose, but also kind of introduce it to how it stands. So after that, I kind of used watercolor just to see how and what the material will affect it with how the water would kind of like represent the movement of the horse.
Hey, Nathan.
And then
I don't mean to interrupt, but we're only seeing the thumbnail images of your drawings. We're not seeing anything fully blown up.
Oh,
So you might have to close share and then restart it, possibly.
okay. And share. Can you guys see that now?
We see the thumbs, so try clicking on one of your images now, maybe.
How about now? Nothing.
We're just seeing the thumbs, but your words are really powerful, though. They're doing a good job. It's just, I just wanted to let you know we're not seeing the full image.
Almost close to. Nah, what do I do? Cancel. What in the world? Why you do this to me now? Anywho, can you guys see me pointing them all out like this?
Yeah, we can see your mouse moving.
Okay. Well, anyway, let's try it one more time. How about now?
No.
Nada. What the chicken?
Okay, just continue, and we'll just, I guess, look at your thumbs. But
okay. Well, so if you guys would like squint at this one, at the first one, you can see like the horse and the gourd. And for that one, I had plenty of sketches, lots of ideas that I just kind of just flew through my head. And I wish I could like show you guys how I came up with these ones, but I don't think you guys can see any of these stuff that I'm actually looking at right now. But anyway, these were a lot of ideas that just kind of flew through me, and just wanted to just hurry up and put them all down before I lose that connection with the ideas that kept on flowing through my head. And at the same time, I was just having fun with it. And the process was that it took a lot of cutting out. Right here, you can see all of the utensils that I used, from markers to color pencils, scissors, compasses, measuring tape, rulers, and what do you call those papers that you get to cut out, construction paper. So I had a lot of fun with that. And I don't think this is gonna work out, so I'm just gonna go ahead and turn on my camera here so I can show you guys. Come on, work with me here. And can you guys see me now? See my face?
we can, but you might need to stop screen sharing so that we can see your full face.
All right, cool. So
There we
I'm
go.
just gonna go ahead and I don't think I can flip the camera. Nope. So I'm just gonna do the old school style. I'm gonna turn this camera around. Ah. Oh my gosh. Bye, cord.
Wow.
So the first thing that popped into my idea was that I wanted to try to keep it plain and simple, but of course I have always wanted to push myself to where I was able to you know, push my creativity to the full max, and I think I did that by doing like a lot of somewhat like a pop screen, I guess that's what it was called. But most of the stuff that I have looked up online were called paper cut, or yeah, paper cut artwork, and it turned out to be like a bunch of layers of paper just laying on top of one another. And I thought that it was pretty cool of how they were able to do stuff like that. So I wanted to try and kind of bring that into my work. And so eventually I ended up just having fun with listening to the music as always, hearing the gourd, and then that same image of the horse kept popping into my head. And I just had fun, and I did a lot of sketches of how I wanted to introduce the horse. And so this is what it came out to be.
Mm.
All of this is mostly just color pencil and oil. What do you call it? Oil pastels. And the colors that I did, oh my gosh, can't even hold the camera right. I did, mostly of them were all just cutouts. And for the frame that I did for this one, it's still not glued on there, right? But this one is pretty much actually painted gold. And I used that one with a spray paint. And then for the gourd again, I used for the same watercolor thickness of paper that Matthew was able to help me out with. Thank you for that. And in the background, I pretty much did like a landscape of it. I wish I could show you guys the images, but the image itself won't show when I screen share. And that's the one that I did for this set. And then we're gonna move on to the second one, Dos. And that one again, I wanted to create the drum again. And for the drum, everybody has their in the NAC world, everybody has their own representation of what the drum means. But to me, it pretty much represents Mother Earth, the heartbeat. And so that's what this drum is. To me, that's what it represents. And that the hide that they used during these ceremonies comes from a living creature. And so there's so many other ones, so many type of hides that they can use, from elk, deer, bear, I think it was, moose, and all these other things that are called commercial hides. And those ones, I think, they're manufactured and stuff like that. But for me, I always like to hear the sound of some of my siblings, which they always have elk hide, and it's beautiful. It sounds really nice. And so that's what I wanted to incorporate into the drum, because the drum represents the heartbeat of Mother Nature. So that's why I did like a forest in the background, and then in the area in the sky, you can see like the sun. And what that to me represented was the 4 or 7 marbles that represent the 7 days of the week. And the rope again represented unity, that everybody and everything are united as one, and we all have this connection with Mother Nature, and that we are unable to, escape silence, because, every time when we try to pay attention, or every time we want to just sit there and meditate, there's always going to be that heartbeat that's going to be around us or within us. And that's what I wanted to capture in that sense. And that's how I came up with this artwork. And then moving on to the next one is the fan. Oh. Make some more room here. Oh. Sorry about that, you guys. Okay. And so the other tool that we use also, the tool that we are really connected to is also the fan. And for me, the fan was pretty much represented as a protection or a messenger. And how I saw it was they had a lot of different other birds. They had macaws, they had scissortails, and they had kingfishers and all those kind of birds. But for me, the one that always caught my eye was the golden eagle. And I see a lot of roadmen and those who take that initiative to where they how do you say it? They're really into the spiritual religion of that. And I see most of them carrying these types of golden eagles, because for me, it kind of represented as the spiritual bird that is able to send messages, and in return, it's a good omen. And that's what I wanted to incorporate into this drawing here. And we'll take a good closer look. And did the same thing with the frames again. I added a black in the back, and then the gold framing waves. I wanted to kind of make that represent like the wind and the feathers. And then to the golden eagle again. I think I really had a lot of fun doing this one because of all of the lines, cross hatching and whatnot. And then this one was just kind of, I wanted to try and bring out my fan creativity. So I did most of this out of commercial construction paper. So everything was just cut out and just glued together. And I even did the whole fringes coming off the handle there. And then in the background, I wanted to capture the mountains, because from what I've read and from what I've heard from stories of siblings, they always say that they find these birds in the high mountain areas, and that's what I wanted to capture. And it's always beautiful in the evenings or in the afternoons, so that's why I wanted to kind of capture that also. So these are the three projects that I did. And that's the end of my presentation. So thank you. Any questions or comments? You're on mute.
Excuse me, guys. I turn on mute and then I forget that I've done so. But yeah, anyone who wants to jump in and give Nathan some feedback on what they're reading, like what is the visual communication telling you? What are you getting from his work? And I know you have the benefit of, his beautiful anecdotal story about process and experience and culture and, where he's coming from and who he's talking to. And but I think it'd be really valuable for Nathan to know, what are you getting from his work?
One thing that I always pick up on when seeing Nathan's work is he tends to create a very dynamic relationship between the subjects of his compositions. And so for me, particularly in the drum, with the drum piece, there's an incredible almost tension with the sky and the other elements of the composition. And I really like that. I think it really helps bring it forward, and it seals something in there. So you're not just, while you focus on the drum first, you kind of, your focus drifts slightly, and you get to experience that tension, and it builds a little something. So I appreciate that.
You're welcome, and thank you.
Yeah, I'm just practically speechless, Nathan. It's just such beautiful work. And I know your heart and soul is in it. And I think you're really working not only to communicate with yourself, but you're doing it for the benefit of the viewer. I feel, you know, you're revealing and showing and telling, and so you're speaking through your work. And I just really want to applaud you. I think your work ethic is amazing. You know, and I'm not even seeing these drawings in person. You know, so I can't wait to eventually actually put my eyes on all those details and all those layers that you've been lovingly kind of constructing. And I also appreciate, when we were exploring your thumbnails, the way that you're documenting your process and exploring different techniques and materials and ways to composite, this quote unquote idea of drawing and painting, which can pretty much be anything we decide for it to be, but you're still very focused on traditional drawing techniques like, cross hatching, line work, contrast, juxtaposition. But at the same time, there's always a dominant theme or character or element within your work that you're focusing on, but they're all very well connected. As Carlin had stated, there's a thread moving through your ideas and your works. And gosh darn it, I really do hope that you can get another 3 done before the end of the semester. Not for the class, but for yourself. I mean, these things are incredible. Bravo.
Thank you.
I really like your work, Nathan. I understand those stories that you're talking about because we go to those same ceremonies. And I get the same vibe when you're hitting the drum and you're singing with the gourd. You get that visualization of a horse. And I feel like that represents who you are, your spirit. So, and I like the drum, the water drum too. I really miss hitting drum with you and singing and all that stuff. So good job. And then the one with the fan. So these all represent something that was near and dear to you. And I really like how it has like it's like your own signatures coming out within your borders, how it moves, and then all your compositions, how you place things, like it's all coming together. The more you generate all these sketches and ideas, and you're putting a lot of work into it. So good job, Nate.
Thank you.
I'm always trying to
You're on mute.
remind folks. Yeah, I know I'm on mute. I'm always trying to remind folks, if you want to say something, don't hesitate. Just kind of, make sure that your words are heard, because I'm sure they're valuable to the whole group.
I think your work is very detailed, and also it's like how you plan out all your drawings and it falls into place. It's also using the colors through each drawing, representing each element of the guard, the fan, and the water drum, and that very connects fluently, and also it's mainly the detail in your work. It's very, very good. So, yeah, good job.
Thank you, Tor.
Does this work reflect anything that you've been doing for the past few weeks?
It actually has. For the past 3 weeks that I have been in my house and staying with my brother, we've always been, practicing these ways, and he would always tell me the stories whenever, I always didn't feel like I didn't want to drum or gourd, but in a way, I kind of felt like I wasn't worthy of carrying these spiritual items, and I couldn't really kind of relate to how he felt about it. But he always told me these stories, and he always told me that one day these things are going to help you out in ways that you wouldn't recognize it. But it's always there to protect you and to keep you company. So every time when he told me these stories about these the fan, the drum, and the gourd, that I just wanted to keep it alive, kind of keep that emotion, that uplifting spirit, those words of encouragement that he told me about these instruments. And I just kind of wanted to keep it on document kind of deal. So every time when that happens on weekdays or after when he gets off work, he would always tell me, Titus, tie the drum, let's go practice. I would always do it, and yeah, it did really stick with me. Uh, yeah.
Lindsay, I think it'd be really valuable for you to contribute to this. I kind of want to, I'm curious what you're thinking about.
I like his artwork, the whole, um, as a whole. And I think he has a lot of different elements and principles that he adds to the composition of his drawings. Um, for the traditional values and like that pertains to the NAC church, I don't understand any of them. And like, I don't know anything about it because it's not Navajo traditional knowledge, but people do like to combine it with Navajo traditions. And but I don't know that whole story either, the whole backstory or anything. So that's still pretty new to me. But I think it's interesting how like other tribes like implement this in their life and like what they do with it. I think it's pretty interesting perspective with their ceremonies and all of that. And I think, I don't know, I probably never like participate in NAC because just learning the Navajo culture and other cultures that I need to learn, it would probably confuse me too much. So I probably wouldn't ever like practice NAC, but I think it's interesting. It's an interesting perspective. It's just not going to be my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of like being a Mormon and a Catholic, but like people have different views, but I'm not either one either, but it's just different cultural practices. And that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I understand. And yeah, so I just wanted to like I said from the beginning, everybody has like their different perspectives on how they see these instruments and how they hear about it, and
right.
Yeah, and
right.
I thank you for telling me that.
Yeah. But interesting enough, I have been to a peyote meeting when I was a child, and it was a very scary and different experience because I sat there all night and I never slept. And that's the first time I ever did something like that. And like, it was like a mind-blowing experience, but still, I don't think I'll ever like participate in that sort of thing again. But yeah, I have
Mm-hmm.
had small experience. That was the only experience actually.
Yeah.
But you know,
Oh, thank you.
do you? That's you. You're
Yes,
welcome.
yes, sir.
Okay, for the sake of time, any last comments for contribution for Mr. Nathan Begay? And then we'll move on to either Khalid, Troy, or Lindsay regarding their advanced 400 level work and their semester long project.
I just want to thank Nathan again for his imagery and his ideas that he put into his work. It's incredibly beautiful, and I appreciate it very much from that perspective because we kind of put ourselves into our work like that, and we save it for not just ourselves but for the future, and it's really beautiful. I appreciate it, so thank you. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off now because I have that 2 o'clock meeting about actually it's about winter Indian market, so I have to head off to that. And the other thing I want to say is that tomorrow is actually the deadline for the Hurton Museum application. I think I brought that up earlier. So I mean, I would highly encourage all of you guys to go ahead and get that in, whether you think you're gonna make it or not. It's worth it to try. And the biggest thing that I encountered getting into that sort of thing is that just like Professor Bollinger was saying before, are you going to be able to do these projects before the end of the semester? Well, when you get to that point, you kind of have to. It's kind of make or break time.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like you're always behind. And the good thing is that when you're always behind, that means that you have customers who are trying to pick up your pieces. And that's the best part of that. So I mean, thank you guys for showing your work. I really appreciate it. And I hope the rest of the critique is great. So take care.
Thank you for joining us, Carlin. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Carlin.
Yep, bye.
Thanks, Carlin.
Later.
Okay, so someone else, we need another volunteer who's ready and willing.
I guess I'll go.
Okay, thank you, Troy.
Yeah. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I guess for my project, I just wanted to introduce my materials, what I use to make my drawing, and for my drawing, I think for this past couple of weeks, I wanted to do start with a more go towards a collage type of work, and I think for this one, the main concept behind my drawing was for, I guess, I wanted to do a series drawing from the last drawing and to go towards about the COVID-19, the pandemic. And the materials that I use pastel, micron pen, graphite pencil, and also a ruler. And then mainly cut out the pieces to layer top against the figure. And I guess this part of figure, the cut up pieces mainly represents towards I guess the person being broken, of how this pandemic affect the Navajo Nation, and how it also affect other people, their families around the Navajo Nation. And I guess this was, it's not finished, but I'm still working towards it. Through the collage, I think I had a inspiration, like a precedent from another artist. I think his name was David Blunkert, and this was a another president from the other class. I think his work mainly inspired me to add more towards my drawing. And I guess these collage came from, these papers came from like the newspaper that I cut out. Also, I guess this color is like a gold color, like it represents like a shield against the COVID, and I want to add like a topography in it. And also the COVID, and also I think this was like an update of how many cases were on the Navajo reservation, and I thought I would like to include that in the drawing that I did. And here's like a cutout of the world, topography of like world change and the future topography, and was just mainly like adding things that I thought would fit through my drawing. And I think all these are pastel. As far as mainly graphite and mainly micron pen also. And I have other sketches for my next 3 drawings, but got to upload it. So yeah, before I'm gone, but it's not finished.
Troy, can you talk a moment about your semester-long concept or theme? What are all the drawings that you are working on? Can you, how are they all related? What are you moving towards? Just kind of try to put it into words for the group.
I guess my drawing for the constant thing was mainly about myself and how I see what's going on around me right now. And I think mainly I guess this year, the COVID and the pandemic. And I think that was my mainly theme, was about myself. But for this drawing, was mainly a serious drawing from the previous one.
So if anyone has anything they'd like to comment on or say, or, you know, initial thoughts, you know, I think it's really valuable for artists to not only hear that they're doing a good job, or, you know, like they like it, but, you know, I think during a critique, you can be more detailed about what is working, what is not working, what you're feeling or what you're getting from the drawing, how well it's communicating, how well it functions. So kind of dive into those more specifics for Troy.
This is Nathan here. First thing that pretty much caught my eye was the individual in the middle. And I do like how, when you are focused on that, then your eyes kind of starts to wander around, and these readings about future, protect, world change, and numbers of cases, you automatically kind of already know that this is about what's going on in the world today, and that's how I feel when I first looked at it. It was like, okay, this is about what's going on today and how everybody's affected, and this is how this individual is handling it, and it looks really good. I do like it a lot, but I think you could push it a little bit more further to where you can add a little bit more details in these yellow auras a little bit more. And with the COVID cells, it looks really nice. I like that one. And for the triangles, I definitely like how you did that. A lot like how do you say that? You took a risk, and it's working out. And overall, but yeah, you did a good job.
Nathan, does it feel complete or resolved?
I feel like it's half done and half finished, but I do kind of get that feel that it's not completely done yet, and it looks like it was like done last minute kind of deal. That's kind of like what I feel when I take like a second glance at it.
Let's see. I would love to hear from Khalid, Lindsay, Andrea, Sue.
I like the drawing. I think I would like to see more of the cutouts from the one you put on the figure and around the virus. I think it would probably make it more abstract.
I think it's very surreal, like even though, like it's kind of hard to put into words, but it's realistic of what you're trying to represent. Like the future, you can see the monuments, and those are really near and dear to us as Navajo people, and I really feel like that does need to be protected. And how you see this character in the middle is broken, and you can feel that brokenness all over your drawing on this one. And then how this virus is affecting us, and it's kind of new and confusing to deal with, what we're facing now. And I just kind of like how your collage is trying to speak that towards these issues. And I think, yeah, you probably need, I don't know. I kind of like it the way it is too, because it's like more your style and your character, like your signature of drawing. I know how your style is, so it represents Troy to me. And a lot of people may not understand that, but I can respect respect it. And I respect all your ideas and where you're going with your work. So I feel like it's a work in progress. So I really enjoy your simple style and the way you are with your work, and that shows. So good job. And I think you stuck well with your theme throughout the semester. You weren't all over the place. You know what you're doing, but I think you just need more time to work on them. So that's probably about what I have to say.
I was able to get on, and I really enjoyed seeing your work and how you described it and your passion behind it. And I weave a lot of triangles. Of course, I gravitated towards it, and that's just like, I like to do triangles in my work, and the colors. I like how you incorporate your colors together, and thank you for sharing it with us.
Sue, just out of curiosity, what does the triangle mean to you and your work?
When I weave, it means something else, but the medicine men and people, they won't just tell me unless they tell me that I have to go into a ceremony where they do singings about it and stuff. And when I started my weaving, that was my first thing that I really perfected, and like the perfect triangles, like how the Pendleton blankets, the triangles is the one that first inspired me. I seen somebody wearing it, and it was so beautiful the way the triangles interlock, you know, the base and then the upside down, and that's where I started perfecting my triangles. And Carlin is the one that actually bought one from me, and he told me that they'll tell you if you go into a Navajo traditional ceremony and what it represents. So I have not been able to go and attend one to get the meaning, and they're very cautious about just outside the protection of a Navajo dwelling where a ceremony is taking place to tell you or talk about it. So I respected that. And at one time, I think he told me, but it was way over my head. I still didn't understand it.
Thanks, Sue. So let's, if you have any, again, if there's something on the tip of your tongue, there's no reason to wait. Just go ahead and share with the group what you're thinking about. Last call. With that being said, we'll need to hear from Lindsay and Khalid. Troy, thank you so much.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah, the connection is cutting off over here.
It's okay. Yeah, I think we're all doing our best.
Mine too.
Okay, well, let's hear from Lindsay next, okay?
Okay. Hi everyone, this is my life drawing photos. And these are different sketches that I have, not sketches, drawings that I have completed throughout the semester. There's that drawing. And this is another drawing of a female. She's lying on her back and she's crouching down. And here's a petite woman. And I use cross-hatching and different types of small scribbles and some value. And here is a basketball player. I mostly did contour drawing, but I tried to do some details on his face. And here's a guy just leaning against the wall. And he looks kind of like he's sleeping, but he just kind of laid back and chilling against the wall with his arms that look very expressive. And they were kind of cut off inside, outside, because that's what it looked like in the photo. So I just kept it like that in my drawing. And here's a woman doing a yoga pose, and I have some value. I have her shadow casted underneath her. This photo is of a man. He's crouching down in a pose with his fist upward, and he's just kind of at the same time flexing. So it was an interesting pose. So I decided to draw him. And here's a woman. She's sitting with her back towards everyone, and she's sitting on a stool. Here's a woman lying down on her side. It's mostly contour lines in this drawing. And this drawing has like value and some sketching and under shadow, and she has her foot bent back and the other foot is arched. And she's wearing some jewelry, so I thought that was interesting. Here's another person. He's looking up to the sky and doing this backward leaning back pose, and he has his foot arched, and I thought that's a pretty interesting pose, so I decided to do this drawing with his posture. And here's a woman leaning on a stool. Well, she's leaning on two stools. There's one underneath her foot, and she has her hand on the upper one, the taller one. And she has her hand twisted on her back, and I thought that was an interesting pose. Here's another male model. He's sitting on two stools as well. He has his foot relaxed on the left side, and he has his knee bent. He's just kind of posing, looking downward. He has a lot of tiny body hairs. And for my projects, this is project one, just doing a quick recap. That's the first one. That's the second one, which was about cultural taboos, and that one's completed. Now I'm going to go on to my third drawing. My theme is Diné philosophy, past, present, and future. So this next two drawings, they're going to be based on what I call relationship taboos. And the first relationship taboo that I was going to talk about is about clan intermarriage within Diné culture. It's happening a lot more frequently, and it's happening frequently. And like people from the same clan are being in couples or they're being couples and they're living together and they're marrying and having children, that sort of thing. And this would not sit well in the past, from what I understand. So it's just something that I thought that would be interesting to depict with the couples and their couples t-shirts or their couples shirts. So that's a young couple who are both Tachi. They're both the same clan. And the next relationship taboos that I wanted to discuss is like domestic violence. And here's a lesbian couple at the top of this column. And the second column, the second row of this column, there's a gay couple, and then there at the bottom is a heterosexual couple. So like, it doesn't matter what kind of couple you are. You know, I'm just acknowledging the LGBTQ community because I know a few people in that, you know, part of that community, and I have respect for them. And I learned that, you know, many cultures have respect for people within this community. So, and I believe they do have a place within our culture, and you hear about it within like the winter stories, the Diné traditional stories. And I don't know too many of those stories, but you know, just from what I briefly heard, I understand that. And the third taboo, that's a relationship taboo, is like forced labor or forced like servitude, where Navajos tend to pressure their children's or grandchildren, niece or nephews, their significant other. They force them to cook and clean, and like they force them to do all sorts of things, I guess. And like they force them how they dress, they force them how to like live their lives, and they force them like whether or not they should have children and that sort of thing. And I've never heard, you know, them talking about that that's an okay thing to do in all my Navajo culture classes. So I'm assuming that this is taboo, but I have heard this from like many different accounts of friends and like other people who talk to me about their stories and their situations and how they're forced to do this and they're forced to do that. And I guess I thought I would bring this about, like awareness on this type of behavior, and that it's not, I don't know if it's correct or if it's right, but I think it's probably a taboo because I haven't heard anything. So it's kind of like uncomfortable to talk about, but this is the next part of my taboo part of the theme. So this concludes my e-portfolio for life drawing. So
initially, Lindsay, I just wanted to comment.
That's just what I have to share for today.
I think your concept is brilliantly strong, and the way that you're representing these taboo issues within Navajo culture with the figure. In a way, I was kind of looking at that drawing that had the multiple couples and then the figure on the right, and I just kind of had a question. For some reason, I kind of wanted to see each of those partitions completed at a more rigorous level with more detail, more time, because I think that you're onto something that is really fantastic, but I'd like to see kind of more. Maybe that's the right way of putting it. But I love the way that you framed your presentation, because, you know, essentially you were showing us snapshots of drawings, figurative drawings from the online figure sessions that you felt,
Right.
you know, that you were happy with. And I think that's kind of what this class, of course, is all about, you know, the figure. But I'm hoping that, you know, by the end of the semester, you can take some of those drawings and partitions we were just looking at, you know, and really kind of resolve them, because I think your content and material is so powerful. It deserves to be larger and with more, I guess, time and attention. And I say that with great respect too, because I think that your issues are just, it's really, it's a very strong foundation to work from, Lindsay.
Okay, thank you.
So let's see. Yeah, anyone who wants to jump in, and you know, what were your impressions? What did you think? You guys are getting shy here at the end of the day, huh? Or maybe tired, one or the other.
This is Sue.
Yep.
I kind of like disagree with making your children help you clean, cook, learn how to cook. That is a taboo. I have not met a Navajo family, you know, express that, you know, you're going to be a slave and you're going to do all these things. I think if a child, you teach them to cook and clean, you're not only keeping your house clean. When my
Oh no,
children
I
moved
was
out,
talking about your children's boyfriends or girlfriends of a different family, not your own children or your grandchildren, but like let's say you have a son or a granddaughter or somebody like a niece or nephew, and they have like a boyfriend, and they like forced that person from a different family or from a different, you know, household. They tell them to clean. They tell them to do how to dress, how to have, if they should have children, or they can't go to school or they can't go to work. That's what I'm talking about. Not your own children, not your own grandchildren. That's like a, that's not what I'm talking about. Sorry, I just had to clarify that.
okay, because that's how I interpret it. Thank you for the clarification.
Oh yes, yes. You're welcome.
Well, you know, and just kind of follow up, I think that's why, you know, I commented that, you know, your subject matter is a very good foundation and bedrock, because, you know, Lindsay, you're taking a position, and you're expressing these ideas directly, and I think that's a good thing. I think that's a very bold, admirable move. You know, and when visual art does that, you know, it drives a response, and that is a good thing. So I really applaud you for being bold and being, you know, for expressing yourself. Yeah. Just out of curiosity, does anyone else have a direct response to any of the taboo issues that Lindsay was bringing up? I mean, we're all friends here. Let's just, you know, just say it. What do you think?
For me, I think it was pretty awesome. Like you said, it was pretty bold of her to do stuff like that. And sometimes when the topic comes up in family members, we tend to stay silent because, you know, we they always say like "hajoko yanchikisha," ado dinana, meaning that watch what you say and think before you speak, kind of deal. Because some of us, some family members will take it in a different direction, and also I like how she clarified it for those who misinterpret it. And so for her, I've heard so many of these stories from my grandparents, from my dad, and from my brothers, and most of them were just pretty much good omens for me. Like the two male couples. I'm not going to go into that story, but you know, to make it short, you know, at one point in our history, that did happen. We accepted male, and female accepted female. And when you have one of those in your households, it's a good fortune. It's good, and it's always has that positive vibe for families. And that, you know, you don't always, because from my teachings, from their teachings, from what they told me, was that, you know, you just accept your loved ones and who they love, you accept them for that. And so, Lindsay, thank you. And that kind of brought up good memories for me too, when she showed me those or shared those stories about, you know, male and a female being with the opposite sex and stuff like that. But yeah, I congratulate you and thank you for that. Yeah.
I think that was a very bold move, like everybody's saying, to draw something like that, because it's not really, I guess, addressed and talked about, because you don't really want to offend anybody. But it reminds me of that old taboo book that's out there somewhere, I forgot, but lists a lot of things that you're not supposed to do as a Navajo. So I kind of understand what you're talking about with, you know, the same sex marriages and, you know, those type of issues you see nowadays in our younger generation. And you drew that, so of course everybody was going to have a response to it. So yeah, it was different. So I appreciate the risk you took to draw something like that. And then I like the posture and movement in your subject matters. It was really good with movement when I seen your work before. And I think that still is within your theme of your drawings. Like, you always drew figurative drawings to me. So I really like your movements all the time. So good job.
I think that was a great comment you made, Andrea, regarding posture, because you know, in figure drawing, weight and, you know, the weight of the body against a floor or gravity, you know, just that the way the body kind of rests against itself, you know, like the structure of the body is really important to kind of capture in life drawing, and that's not an easy thing to do either. So I think you're right, that Lindsay did capture that really well. So, but I had another question, not necessarily for Lindsay, but the entire group. I mean, how do you feel? Have you ever been offended by art? I know that's a little off topic, but, you know, I think it's still kind of with the topic that we're talking about, you know, because, I mean, is art meant to offend?
Well, the whole taboo thing, it starts with seeing a naked person too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm embracing it as a learning for me, because they say that if you see your wife or husband naked, that means you're going to go blind. And then the same as if you if you're a male, you can't see your mother-in-law. That was just when the mother-in-law knew the son-in-law was coming, she would just cover her head. So this whole taboo thing is about being naked and showing your body too. So there is, I'm getting used to it and I'm embracing it as part of art. And that's just my thought on it.
Anyone else want to comment on that question, or do they have anything to add? Because I really, I think it's a very important question, because, you know, it's, sometimes you do come across art and it makes you a little uncomfortable, or it offends you, or it shows you a different perspective that you may not be used to or comfortable with. So, you know, that's, again, you know, when art can actually be a learning experience, like about things that you haven't been exposed to, or things that you've been taught sort of in opposition to your background or your experiences.
I think from my perspective, I see it as a learning experience, and mainly I think it depends on what the person where they come from, the background, what they were taught. But I think for me, yeah, I think it's a learning experience.
Any other comments for Lindsay?
I think for one of my work, I enjoy seeing the contour line where she put mainly the detail in the face, and throughout, I think her work is very good, drawing the figure and also putting in those line details within her drawings. It's a good work.
I just wanted to mention there's a figurative artist that I think might be valuable for Lindsay to look at. His name is Egon Schiele. So I'm going to put it in the chat for everyone to take a look at. Let's see. Darn it, I'm having difficulty with the chat. Hold on. Okay. So, yeah, Lindsay, take a look. You might want to just, you know, look at that artist's figurative work, especially his contour drawings. Might be valuable for you in your process. So without ado, let's move on to Khalid.
Okay, hi everyone. Okay, wait. Let me share my screen first. Okay, do you guys see it?
I see it.
Yep.
Okay, well, my semester long-term project is focusing like my continuation from my series that I probably mentioned before. and how I always focus on my subject within their environment and nature. So I wanted to play around with this idea of incorporating people this time into my work. Since I'm taking life drawing, it's kind of been a interesting subject of how to handle the human body and proportionizing it. So this is my fourth drawing that I'm doing. I have been focusing only on the black and white, which is this one and the next one. I don't have some colored charcoal at the moment, so that the last six drawing, it's on hold for a bit. So I'm focusing now on the black and white, which I mentioned before. It's going to be like color, black and white, color. So this is one of the black ones this time, and I'm focusing more on the inside. And as I mentioned, how since we're in this global pandemic, I kind of wanted to play with the idea of having us being inside, but also wanting to have that feeling of going outside. But knowing that we can't, I've been trying to understand how I can incorporate that idea into my work this time. And so this one, I kind of wanted to focus on the inside, like how I mentioned in the drawing before in the black and white, which incorporates the Pendleton, and that's the only one that's probably has color at the moment. But this one I'm still working on. So I kind of wanted to focus on something like that and trying to have this kind of opposite side of being indoor and outdoor. And like I mentioned too, how the Pendleton kind of represents that comfort, the idea of wanting to feel safe, I guess. So I wanted to play around with that idea again with this one, as the Pendleton blanket is wrapped around my subject. So I'm taking my time on that one because, you know, for me, drawing the human body's always been kind of interesting, but also a thing that I'm still learning. So the drawing assignment sometimes helps when I have an idea of how to make the person look or the way they're positioned. And so the next drawing, it kind of deals with that too. So I wanted to focus on something like that again. And I kind of been having this idea of kind of incorporating like a painting within the Pendleton, having the idea of, being outside, but knowing that we can't because don't want to be exposed, since I haven't been exposed yet. Well, not, but it's just kind of been an interesting way of how we live right now. So doing something that's kind of feel the total opposite of what I've been doing, it's kind of interesting. So I'm trying to learn how to focus more like the interior design inside a home. So I'm hoping to approach the last drawing with the color one in a total different direction where it's being outside. I kind of wanted to focus on that idea, whereas like the previous ones have been. So this is only what I have so far.
Khalid, how are these current drawings connected with the previous drawings that we saw with the figure sort of wrapped in the Pendleton?
I first thought like when you guys mentioned of does it like represent some symbolic idea of, you know, hiding, or is it being um kind of like closed space? Or I don't know. I was always thinking about the idea of how to incorporate these subject with the blanket, you know. Does it symbolize some hope of idea that things are gonna get better? So that's why it feels like that the way I see how it's coming together, it kind of plays into the way of the world is, you know, the are we going to go back to normal? So the idea of being safe and trying to be aware of what things are happening. So I think that's why the blanket sometimes the subjects is kind of wrapped around them, but sometimes it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was getting at, you know what I mean? And also the backdrop has changed. Like in the previous drawings, the backdrop was an exterior landscape, and now there's an interior landscape happening. And so there's been sort of like this shift in your drawings that you're presenting today. And I would encourage you to and it doesn't have to be resolved right now. You know, sometimes you resolve these things through the actual process of completing the work, right? But
Yeah.
I think it's a really interesting, I guess, sort of crevice in your work that you could articulate for us or explore. But you know, it's definitely something that I'm noticing. And so that's why I'm letting you know that, you know, like visually there's been a shift. Obviously, you know, in your drawing of the figure, I always encourage folks to try to focus on value, cross-hatching, proportion. But that's if you're trying to, I guess, fit into the more quote unquote traditional artist model, you know, where you're using those very traditional tools to represent the figure, which are very, very valuable, by the way. I like where you're headed with things, but I'm kind of wondering how you're going to button everything up. And I know I don't know, I think I heard someone use that phrase recently, and it really kind of struck me. How do you button things up? How do you resolve things before the end of the semester? Because let's see, again, pretty much 3.5 more weeks to resolve these drawings, and all the advanced 400 level students owe me 6 resolved completed drawings that reflect their concept theme. And I think that what you're doing is really fascinating. I think you had 3 with the exterior landscape and 3 with the interior landscape. And I'm eagerly kind of awaiting how you button it up.
Yeah, I know. I just need more materials. And so once I have that, I'll probably be able to tackle what I'm trying to accomplish, because I see it clearly. I'm just taking a few adjustments.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, and I don't know, I'm hoping that maybe you can kind of give us a glimpse into the answer. Why the exterior landscape, and now the interior landscape? And even the photo that we're looking, or the image that we're looking at right now, there's a landscape above the fireplace of the exterior, while some person is an interior. And I know you kind of articulated that a bit, you know what I mean, with your concept, talking about wanting to be outside. In a way, I almost kind of feel like the previous figures in the previous drawings, they wanted to be safe inside, right?
Yeah.
And now these figures are longing for being outside, perhaps where they're not safe.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably the correct way to describe it, because that's why the black and white drawings are a bit different from my colored drawings. And that's why I'm trying to feel like you know, because it's kind of like a dull moment at the bit. So sometimes when I look at the black and white drawings, I kind of feel a little bit bummed out that they're not the way that I've been doing my previous work. Kind of feels like it's like a depressing feeling, but I'm trying to exterior the idea of, you know, I can bring colors within the Pendleton like I've had in the previous drawings. And that one I also incorporate that quite well. So I wanted to continue with that idea while also shifting back to, you know, my drawings are being outside.
Yeah, I feel like I need to mention one other thing. I kind of feel like there's a place mark for the figure, but the figure really hasn't received the attention it quite deserves yet. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
Um,
It's kind of weird how I'm learning about the body. I mean, like I've always been trying to learn about that. So the drawings assignment's always kind of been helpful, or looking back to what I've been doing, like my photographs, is how I place things or position things.
mm.
So this is kind of like a total opposite. So I'm still working on trying to accomplish that.
One last question, and I promise I'll stop hogging all the conversation, folks. But you know, I'm just trying to press Khalid a little bit for his own benefit as an advanced art student. Um, do you still intend to use these drawings for your BFA thesis?
Yeah, I'm trying to finish these ones really as soon as I get my materials, and because I wanted to incorporate these into my virtual exhibition, because it kind of ties into what I've been doing. I kind of gave a sneak peek to Andrea today, so I want to do something that's relating to what I've been working on for the past several semesters.
Right. And I think, like, from my perspective, Khalid, you've sort of been unraveling an onion. And I'm wondering what the next layer is. You know, what is the next step?
It's a big onion. I seen it. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So, you know, yeah, I'm really excited for the work that you've been exploring, Khalid. You just gotta just promise me you're gonna button it up.
I will, I promise.
So I just want to listen to everyone else talk, you know, because that's what we're here to do. You guys are the talkers, so let's hear it.
I like how all of your work has been on the same theme, and you showed me earlier of everything that you've been working hard towards. And um, I just think that you're almost done with your drawings and you're at the finishing line. And I'm congratulating you on all your work, because I seen your growth from the beginning, and it's all tying together what you're trying to interpret. So I can't wait for your senior project at the end of the year, how it's going to come out and all that stuff. So keep going, and you're almost there. Don't give up. And I appreciate your work, Cleve. Good job.
Thank you.
see, Nathan, Sue, Lindsay, Troy. In particular, you know, Khalid needs feedback because this is his work. This is his BFA thesis work. What's good,
I think
guys?
it's good to see that you stay on the same theme and concept of your drawings, and also how you draw the figures. Just like a basic figure, and that you're building up on it. And also like the picture of the landscape a landscape on the wall. I think through your work I see all these landscape and the involved landscape, and also the details with the charcoal around it. And I feel like it's mainly focused. I'm mainly focused on like on the landscape drawing on top. But overall, it's a good work. And maybe I'll probably push a little more on finishing up. Yeah, good work.
It seems like I guess we've kind of come to the end where folks are getting quite quiet. Maybe tired because I know it's been a long day of crits and, you know, doing this business. Can everyone hear me right now?
I think I can.
Okay. Lindsay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, Lindsay was mentioning that I guess. Yeah.
What did I get? What?
Yeah, I think we've come to the end of the critique today. I think everyone has shown their work and gotten some feedback, received feedback. And I do want to remind folks also that I have posted a final portfolio assignment via Blackboard. So kind of keep that in mind. It's the kind of thing that I am going to want you to drop off physically on campus, probably in the GCB building, either during week 15 or week 16. So in other words, you keep track of all your drawings and start planning on that final submission regarding your drawings. So it's sort of like the last thing that I'll be asking that you do for your drawing class is to gather, document, organize, and get things to me. Also, within that portfolio, I'm asking for an updated or I guess edited artist statement and bio, possibly reflecting your concept or a theme. So just keep all these things in mind, and I know you have plenty to do because you have other courses to worry about as well. So before we hang up, any last comments?
Can you email this recorded session link or download? Because I missed a lot of the feedback.
Yeah, this is the first time that I've been recording these Zoom meetings. So I'm gonna have to figure out where and how to upload it. That'll be my next step, and then maybe I can share that with the group. So, but
yeah,
I was actually thinking YouTube possibly, but I'm not sure yet.
you can send them through the Net College site.
Okay. And is that media share that you guys are talking about?
Oh, the download to this video?
Yeah.
Like the link?
Okay. Well, like I said, this is the first time I've done it, but I'll figure it out. And yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So
folks.
do we have to, I have one question.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
do we have to drop off our official paintings that we did? Or you want us to make copies and do it as pictures?
There, you'll have to drop off the actual drawings within a portfolio, within a bound portfolio. And again, you know, like I haven't worked out the logistics quite yet, but distancing will be involved. So you might have to come into the building masked up and just drop it off, and then you'll pick it up a few days later or whenever you're
See,
comfortable.
I have more than one sketchbook, and it's like whatever I find, I start
No,
sketching.
I'm not asking for the sketchbook. I'm only asking for the project drawings. And so 400 level students will owe me 6 drawings. 300 level students will owe me, yeah, pretty much, you know, those projects 1 through 8 represented.
Okay, so you want the big 18 by 24 project?
I sure do, because Sue, I actually want to look at those with my own eyes, and I also want to maybe take a snapshot, you know, for both her and my records. So that's part of my.
Because I used some on the back because I was learning to recycle.
Well,
so
it's I understand that, Sue. So I'll take that with a grain of salt.
Okay. And I really don't want to rip them out from my book. So you might have 2 or 3 18 by 24 books.
Okay. Whatever you have, Sue.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, we'll work it out. Okay, folks, have a safe and enjoyable evening and go get some supper and relax.
See y'all. Be safe.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Yeah.